Salutations, late nighters, and welcome back to another edition of Late Night TCG here on the Shuffle Squad's YouTube channel. There we go. We got through that without totally fumbling our words. We got there.
TSS.
The Shuffle Squad, if you may. My name is Kyle, or Koopa, depending on what part of the internet you may know me from. This is my friend Henry, or Ooble, depending on what part of the internet you may know them from. Hi, Henry. How you doing, pal?
Hello. Feeling good. You know, the Wednesday night Shuffle Squad late night events are always bring something to the table, especially right after LAIC, which had some really fun finals. Overall, the Masters finals may have been a mirror match, but it had a lot of representation otherwise. And honestly, the seniors finals was kind of gas. It was Turtle against Charizard, and I was like Terapagos, and was like, this set's kind of killer. Like, these two are playing really well.
Yeah. Gabriel Fernandez is one of the best. When he ages up in the Masters, it's going to be a buzzsaw for everybody. Him and his brother, two of the best. Like, his brother was one of the best seniors before he aged up. And he won a regional last season, and I think it was one of his first U.S. regionals as a master. And his brother is continuing to be a terror in seniors. So the kids the kids are all right, folks. And shout outs to Miloslav for pulling it out in Masters finals. Reggie Drago mirrors are fun. Miloslav wore 2 pairs of shorts, so that's use that information with whatever you got. But we got some matches running right meow. We are currently in case you missed it up top, Surging Spark is legal right now for us online. So we are playing in the new set. If you are planning on going to Sacramento, this might be some useful information for you if you still haven't locked in the deck list yet. So looking at who we got, let's slide in the match voice chat to Henry. See video chat there. We'll see.
Yeah, seems like they're running game 2.
Yeah, I don't know what's playing. Let's go check it out. Hello, gameplay. It's me, Koopa.
It's your boy, Koopa Kyle.
That's me.
This is a fun one.
Yeah, I still don't know who we got playing right now. Who is this?
Freeware is playing against Blah 245. This is game 2. Blah 245 is on Ancient Box, and Freeware, who we're seeing the perspective of, and you might not be able to tell too well from the hand, is playing Pidgeot Hydreigon.
Oh yeah, it's real Hydreigon hours, chat. This has been a card that has been a hot topic of conversation amongst the people since it was revealed to be coming out in this set. Hydreigon is I personally think the card's kind of bad, but given the right matchup spread, I was amped to be proven wrong. And I think it has Poison's a decent matchup into something like Ancient Box. Your 200 damage is always going to be relevant in a matchup like this. So, and that mill is also going to be very deadly as well. So Crashing Headbutts proving to be a dangerous attack in a matchup against Ancient Box, where you're not going to be doing too much in the early game, but your mid game and late game get very, very strong. So we'll see if Blah is able to maybe turn things around here. Starting with that Fluttermane, though, definitely helpful at the very least. Shuts off abilities of the active, so that'll make things a little bit tricky here for Freeware. But taking a search for the deck, a lot of shiny cards in here, Henry.
Yeah, moving straight on through with these darkness energies. I think it being a dark type Pokemon means you're in a really good spot right now to be experimented with. Of course, Hydreigon EX is going to be that Terra Stellar, so it's going to have a ton of different energy. But for 2 energy, you do 200 on top of the other flexibilities that come with darkness energy, like utilization of even more utilization of cards like Pheasantipity or Pecharunt, and you can turn into something pretty all right. Pidgeot EX is also in this deck, but surprise, surprise, that card is never going to be bad.
No, that is, if dare I say, quick search kind of busted. The coldest take of the night. And I think, what I find interesting about Freeware's deck here is that, a lot of Hydreigon lists have been trying to make that second attack, the Obsidian, work, but that move is just a kind of an awkward energy and attack costs to power up. But there is a one copy of Counter Gain, a reprinted card, new to this set. Was originally printed back in Lost Thunder in the Sun and Moon era. A very effective tool card in these sort of like decks that are maybe a little slow to get off the ground here. If your opponent has more prize cards than you, the attacks of the Pokemon Counter Gain is attached to cost one colorless energy left. This deck already plays the Neo Upper Energy as its ace spec, which provides a double Rainbow Energy to Stage 2 Pokemon. So that Obsidian is able to be paid off decently well here. So we'll see if that becomes a factor here. But starting second is already kind of an awkward spot to be in here for Freeware. These evolution decks obviously want to go first, and now you have Ancient Box starting to rev the engines, and you have a pretty sizable target to hit here in Pheasantipity.
Yeah, tough to not be able to get the Pheasantipity out of the active. Not only is the card a one of in the list, which is not abnormal, but you need to be able to save your flip the script given how quickly damage can ramp up for Ancient Box, especially if they're going to be starting to strike on things like this Rotom or any of your Stage 2 Pokemon, because there is no means for a quick evolve right now until the rare candy, the Arven, was drawn and played, and the rare candy is acquired. Going to be slamming down that Ultra Ball in order to pick up a presumably Hydreigon. No, going for the Pidgeot.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice here. You also do have the Forest Seal Stone to get yourself over here as well on the Rotom. So I think whatever pieces Freeware might be missing here, they will be able to get, hopefully. But looking at how the start's been for Blah, has yet to get an attack off in these first on that last turn. So tough spot to be in. I think that opens up the window for Freeware to maybe just take a little bit of a slower approach here. No need to kind of, rush head first into something. Allow yourself to get set up. We're going to see them grab the Zweilous to evolve from that Dino.
Yeah, some fun new stuff from the most recent set in here. You guys get to see some of the trainer cards taken into effect. Not only the Counter Gain, as you mentioned, but we got to see the single copy of Terra Orb in the deck. Search any Terra Pokemon and from your deck to your hand. Simple stuff.
Yeah, nope. I think that card's gonna find a real home in those decks that do play those Terra Pokemon. So I think that, especially in certain decks like Charizard or like Dragapult, where discarding stuff kind of feels like chopping off an arm sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think that those cards are going to slide in real easily to those. And here we go. We're going to retreat the old Fluttermane here. And we did see a new card get milled off the Pokestop there in Blah's pile. The Gravity Mountain Stadium card, which lowers the HP of Stage 2 Pokemon by 30. Which is relevant damage in this matchup. So Ancient Box having a couple of techs now, to help deal with those troublesome matchups in the past, which were those Stage 2 Pokemon that just have way too much HP.
Yeah, works twofold as well, right? Because not only do you get a way to counterplay some of the Stage 2 stuff, you also get a very, very solid stadium on top of your consistency stadium in Pokestop to counter against one of the consistent decks of the format, that being Terapagos. So some consistency boost and way to counterplay an existing deck is always going to be necessary for any tech card. Speaking of, there is that Terra Orb in order to fetch out the Hydreigon EX. Thanks to the slow start on both ends, you feel pretty all right as a Stage 2 deck sitting with no knockouts taken. The Phesandipity's hurt, but not knocked out. And you get, oh, we are just going to go for the instant charge and end the turn. We're going to seem like just let the Pheasantipity go and make our big swing on the next turn. How do you feel about that, Kyle?
Given that the counter gain is in the hand already, I can see where Freeware's going from here. I think they're trying to just take advantage of the fact of, okay, I'm gonna go down a couple of prize cards. I'm just gonna take advantage of a singular attach here, and let the powers of my down in prize cards do their thing. So it's very potent stuff here. You have to be very careful with decks like this. There hasn't been a deck like Hydreigon in the format in a while. There hasn't been a good mill deck in a bit, so it's definitely some tricky stuff here. And I'm sure Blah hasn't really played much against these a deck archetype like this, so it could be some learning on the fly. But we're gonna open up the floodgates here with that first 2-prize knockout. Huge hands on both sides. So now that the counter gain and all of those great comeback cards have been unlocked, let's see how Freeware navigates this next turn here.
All the pieces have been assembled for a Neo Upper Energy, like big Obsidian play, and that seems to be what the direction is. Dark Patch as well, going to be able to set up the existing Zweilous, so you're kind of prepping a twofold type of attack here when it comes to a pair of 330 HP Hydreigons being able to spread 130 damage to 3 separate Pokemon on top of the existing then second Hydreigon, threatening its crashing headbutts to mill out a very thin deck on the side of Blah here, or just to deal 200 damage, which maxes out even a booster capsule Hydreigon, a booster capsule Roaring Moon, excuse me.
Yep, there we go. We're going to see the hand disruption come in here, as well as we see the benching of the Petron EX to help move that Hydreigon into the active if Pidgeot ever happens to get vanquished. And we're also going to see the dropping of a really fun stadium, in my opinion, in Standard right now. Pokemon League Headquarters makes it so that the attack of basic Pokemon costs 1 colorless energy more. And we're going to see the Obsidian come into fruition here. It's going to do 130 to the active and then 130 to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So we're going to spread some damage around and knock out Greninja in the process. So that stadium is going to immediately bumped. Let's see how Block can respond here. 330 again, big number to hit, and that one of Gravity Mountain is in the discard pile already. So trying to hit that number to a decent number to knock out this Hydreigon here might be asking a bit, but we'll see if they'll be able to pull it off.
I did really like the setup for this play. You play a little bit patient, and the reward is quite massive, because now you've set up 2 Roaring Moons for KOs on the following turn, and the Iono, because you took out the Greninja after playing that Iono, there's not a real ton of fresh card seeing on the side of Blah here. Explorer's Guidance is certainly going to help, but that's going to be your supporter for the turn, and it's only 2 cards off the top of your deck compared to being able to see maybe even up to 6, depending on how a Greninja draw work out or how this Explorer's Guidance works out. So it is your choice in those 2. He gets to choose the best ones.
But you have to be careful against a mill deck like Hydreigon. While adding to your ancient card count is is effective. You obviously have to continue to play your game. But there's only 11 cards left in the deck, and we're still a good amount short here on a knockout on a Hydreigon. So a mill 3 here could be kind of devastating. But we'll see how things get passed back to Freeware.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that, right? Like you take out the active, which you take out the active with the crashing headbutt, mill 3 to throw off your opponent's deck math, and then your watch, your counter gain, gets turned off at that point anyway.
Yeah.
So you can just you've already maximized your turns. On the flip side, this could potentially be a 3 knockout turn for Blah if he chooses to use the Obsidian as you take out the active, the Roaring Moon that's already damaged, and the Flutter Mane all in one go.
Yeah. It's a shame that, I mean, I guess it depends on I use the term shame very loosely, but Roaring Moon without the booster capsule still has just enough HP to where it's not going to get knocked out by by an Obsidian. If you take the booster capsule off, it does have 140 HP, but now we're going to switch in this Roaring Moon without any energy on it. We're going to now move this healthy Hydreigon into the active via the Pecharunt. We're going to do that Crashing Headbutt to take the knockout and mill 3 in the process. So I don't know how many Sadas we're down right now, but Freeware in very strong position. There we go. We're going to take a small tick of damage here, via the poison. And again, in a very similar position. So we'd be hitting, got to get a decent amount of cards here in the discard pile. And still bold enough to hit the Pokestop. That is nuts.
Fearless. Fearless.
Bold
I guess,
move gotten.
It comes down to it, with 7 cards left in deck, you will be able to survive another mill 3 if you don't search your deck at all with whatever 8 cards are in these hand. All 4 of the Professor Sada's Vitalities have been played. Big Roaring Moon EX meets the board.
Yeah, fun tech inclusion in this Ancient box. I've been a believer of like a one of that card for a while. I just think it's too good not to play personally. There's also the new Charizard in this deck as well as a one of. It does 30 plus 180 if you use an Ancient attack. I think it's 30 plus 150 if you use an Ancient attack the turn before for 2 colorless energy. So fits nicely into a deck like Ancient box right now. Gives you a decent another attacker to play into, but not really a relevant attacker in this matchup. But still, just going to super out some assets back into the deck, so we've avoided any... We're still above the Mendoza line of any sort of danger right now. But things are still looking a little grim.
Yeah, the turned off counter gain makes this a lot harder to put together some deck math, to some damage math. While you are threatening these big attacks, the fact that the main way to win the game effectively comes down to just like, I'm going to hit with Obsidian, I'm going to hit with a Frenzied Headbutt, Crashing Headbutt, combining some attacks with Frenzied Gouging of the Roaring Moon, but Crashing
Very
Headbutt,
edgy attack name.
Very. These are dark type Pokemon. What should we expect?
Ow, the edge.
It's always there. Yeah, it's these type of problems that I have with this like big stage 2 decks, because despite how turbo they are, and the way to set up the ability to set up 2 Hydreigons was certainly shown off here by Freework, you're kind of just in a position where your turns become like hit, pass, hit, pass. The Neo Energy, though, and the freely searched out Dark Energy is going to at least set up this Hydreigon to be able to perform this Obsidian, going for the 130 amidst at least 2 Pokemon probably going to take a knockout here, and taking at least 1 knockout, chooses to take 2 on a pair of Roaring Moons and claim 2 more prize cards. Nice shift in focus there from Freeware in order to pivot away from the Crashing Headbutt and make sure to keep the threat alive by passing around 130 to 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, and that's where you're seeing the value of the Neo Upper Energy really come into play here. Everyone kind of thought that Ace Spec would never see the play that it did after it Dragapult moved on to greener and shinier pastures with the Sparkling Crystal, but fits in very nicely in this deck if you choose to go that angle. Again, the one of the problems you're going to run into with a deck like this is that you're going to, you know, your math isn't always going to math correctly. There are just enough guys in play that have, you know, more than 200 HP, so you know, it's amazing that 200 HP used to be looked at as like one of the bare, you know, baselines of good damage, and now we look at it's like, yeah, I don't know if that's gonna be enough sometimes.
Yeah, right.
How the turns have tabled, but you know, we're seeing that this deck isn't necessarily always aiming to, you know, knock out everything. This is a deck that strives for those alternate win conditions sometimes, but it does help out in a matchup like this where everything does have squishy enough HP, and being able to set up multiple obsidians, you know, can certainly help you take those multiple prize card turns. But the the Calamity Storm going to come through, take the knockout on the active. But this is pretty much going to be all she wrote here. I think a Crashing Headbutt is going to clean things up here.
Yeah, we're not wasting any time. Lock in the 200 damage, mill 3 because we have to, and take the final 2 prizes. With no Roaring Moons left after the previous Obsidian, that's just nothing more no more attackers that you could potentially threaten any sort of game with except for that Roaring Moon EX, which was already damaged. And it seals out game number 2 for Freeware, bringing us to a game number 3 for this first match of late night. A lot of games going exceedingly slowly, making with a lot of game 3s currently in this round 1, and even still a game 1 for Vaughn and Aldo Spirit, which is our Snorlax player of the evening.
Yep, going up against Miraidon, and that matchup still stinks. Spoiler alert, folks. That matchup is still very hard for Miraidon. So, just kind of giving you guys a run of the land of what we're looking at here in top 8. Kaizuzuka, a late night staple. They are rocking Lost Box. Lost Box is back, baby. Shout out to Big Pikachu for fixing that one. They're going up against Ryan Silva, playing the bridge. Arcalon EX with Starmie, which is a fun. Shout out to Daichi Shimada. This is a fun deck that has been popularized in Japan. Starmie lets you discard it, and then you put 2 damage counters on something, so you can help correct some of that math with Arcalon, because you're not always hitting those like insane numbers. And let's take a look. What else are we looking at here? Get back here. R2D to REC and King Heracross are tied. R2D2 is playing the Conkeldurr Zero Energy deck, which is funny. King Heracross is playing Pidgeot Control. Joe H. Ooh, I think that's my buddy Joe H. From Canada. He just lost 2-0 to Reggie Drago. That matchup still stinks for Charizard. Blitzel's up 1 game over Victor, and Sita and Jorge are still in their respective game 1 somewhere. So things are burning down, folks. Things are moving.
Indeed they are. As we get to what seems like another kind of rough first turn for Blah over here. Like just kind of put down, even with 2 mulligan draws, it was like leave the Fluttermane up, put down a Roaring Moon, attach for turn, pass it over. So rough start. Meanwhile, on the other side here for Freeware, he's got the Rotom V ready and not so waiting to go because of the Fluttermane, but you do at least have access to supporters on this turn, not which can be fetched out. Your one of choice can be fetched out by the Lumineon V. Choosing instead, though, just a Buddy Poffin pass.
Yeah, this hand is still looking pretty good here, and given the start that Blah had, you don't mind kind of taking a slower approach here. We're going to see the Professor Sadas come into play here. Gonna move one of those Darkness Energies on to the Roaring Moon. Gonna attach the other one from hand. I don't believe we are anywhere close to being able to swing into this Rotom here.
But you could still do it. You could still do
it.
70, 80, excuse me.
A whole extra 10 damage. There's one ancient card in the discard pile.
Nice.
Rack it up.
I love that for him. We are going to lock in the Luminous Sign, though, setting up the Arven, choosing to belay the turn to perform these actions, just in case you needed to get a different supporter, depending on your opponent's turn. They had 8 cards in hand, after all, on the side of Blah, but because your your Dino hung around, that means you can instantly fetch the 2 key cards for Arven, or at least the one of them, which is going to be the rare candy. The second card this time around is the Binding Mochi.
Yeah, that was a card I missed on the first look through the deck list. That synergizes very well in his deck, especially with given the Pecharunt EX poisons you. With that extra 40 damage, you hit 240, so you're able to knock out a lot of the big basics in the format. So, good numbers to hit.
Arven just has so much. It's so good. There's so much good about Arven in so many ways. Like, he can just be the glue to hold together a lot of these like tech-centric or rogue-style decks. He also is good in meta decks, of course, but the fact that there's so much utility in being able to add 2 of any item and tool card combinations means that cards like Binding Mochi, cards like the Defiance Band, I believe it's called. There's there's of course the why can't I think of the name of the card right now? There's the Force Seal Stone. Yes, there it is, and the Counter Gain, which we have seen today. So the amount of flexible combinations are endless when it comes to Arven, and always appreciate the flexibility of cards like that. As instead of trying to commit any further to this board, taking it slow seemed to work out in the previous game for Freeware. We are doing it again here. So much is ready for a very, very big turn in a hand like this for Freeware, and there is no hand disruption on the side of Blah, so you feel no qualms in waiting out for them to commit more to the board before you even make your move.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think you want to bait the other deck into swinging into you if you're playing the counter game. Again, it's been a while since this card's been in the format, so I think people are still trying to figure out the right way to play around it, and still not going to fall for obviously you can't just not swing, but we're not going to ramp up our damage to the max here. We're just going to tap this Lumineon, keep it stuck in the active, and it's going to pass the buck back over to Freeware here and see how they choose to set things up. We're going to grab a rare candy to skip over this Wireless. Sorry, bud. We're going to go from 1 head to 3 here, and then we're going to start powering up this Hydreigon here. Dark Patch and attaching the Darkness Energy from hand. And now going to use this Ultra Ball, search out some other pieces here, getting rid of the Terra Orb and the Counter Catcher.
Presumably this would be the Pecharunt, I would believe. And that is what it's going to be. Pecharunt going to be slammed down onto the table. And we're gonna start attacking. Oh, and we're gonna make sure to be attacking into the Pheasantipede, so there is no flipping any scripts after this strike from the headbutt, from the crashing headbutt. 240.
Yeah, that extra 40 damage from the Binding Mochi when you're poisoned is huge stuff, and being able to knock out these very important support Pokemon. And we found a pink card off the prize cards. So that is going to unlock Obsidian on this next turn for Freeware. So excellent turn right there, choosing to go on the offensive. And maybe I was wrong about Hydreigon. Maybe I was unfamiliar with your game and jealous. Maybe this card ain't that bad after all. I just wasn't seeing it fourth dimensionally.
Yeah, and I've been impressed by primarily the play. It feels like the deck building is very focused. Freewer is able to manipulate, as I was saying earlier, like the dark type Pokemon right now are so good, and the support for them is really strong right now with cards like Dark Patch and cards like Petulant floating around that can be beneficial off of said existing typing, and then you blend that with a existing staple card in Pidgeot, which works already extremely well in other stage 2 decks like Charizard, and suddenly you've got like a really solid build around. You don't have the same flexibility because you're kind of required to play something like, or not even something like, exactly Neo Upper Energy to make sure that Hydreigon is reaching its full potential. So while you don't have the same kind of flexibility of another stage 2 deck like Charizard does, you absolutely have some game to it, and I think this fits solidly in that rogue contention.
Charizard's just broken. Being able to move
Charizard's
through
crazy.
that is, imagine being able to accelerate 3 energies by yourself, bruv. All right, man, you got it. Like, cool.
Big Pikachu said Gen 1's the best. And there's nothing we can do about it.
There's nothing you guys can do about it. Just gotta hold that one.
Yep.
All right, well, the buck passed back here to Blah. Again, it's gonna be a. Are you on Discord too, or just YouTube? I mean, we're streaming via the Discord. For whoever's asking in chat right now. But we are streaming live on YouTube. Or whenever you watch this, it might not be live. It could be 3 days from now. Who knows? I don't make the rules.
Classic rewatch streams when you via YouTube. I say it's classic because I do that all the time.
I love telling the passage of time by how long someone's hair is in a YouTube video.
So real. Long hair enjoyers in chat. Oh, we've got just enough to take out the Petulant. That's a solid hit. I do like the manipulation here. That was a big turn on the side of Blanc, having seemingly a lot of cards that do require you to be down in prize cards to be fully active, and the counter catcher powering through the deck a ton and taking out a specific piece to make sure that this Hydreigon is, or these potentially 2 Hydreigon setup, that seems to be the direction we might be heading in for Freewer, isn't as flexible as it was in the previous game where you're rotating between 2 setup attackers. But it does give us the opportunity to slam down this nest ball. Consideration abound here, but Freewer is going to commit to the Fezandipity for that free, in quotes, draw 3 cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, knowing that they had the nice stretcher in hand, it made knocking out the Petra not like the end of the world, especially because you still have Pidgeot in play, so you do have that free pivot. It is just nice to have that sort of security blanket, but still very well set up here. We have plenty of stuff, to work with. We are gonna grab the second Hydreigon here and just throw it on top of the Zweilous. We have hit, what is it, level 64 that Hydreigon evolves from itself or something? Like some
yeah, it's huge.
It's some obscene level. Like I was who thought that was a good idea?
The level curving in Gen 5 is silly because you get these mons that are so cool and so iconic, and they just like don't evolve till forever. Another one that comes off of mind is a Braviary, where it's like, yeah, Braviary is so cool. When does this evolve? Oh, level 55, brother, huh?
Sir, I'm 14. I don't have time for this.
Yeah. Like you can beat the Elite Four at level 40. I love Gen 5, but also why?
Yeah, but also enjoy not seeing your family while you try to evolve these incredibly insane Pokemon.
It's the reason why in Black White 2 they give you the option to catch some of these extra Pokemon in their fully evolved form. Like you can on the construction area route, which I don't remember the name of, you can see depending
Ah,
on your
yes.
version, the Braviary or the Mandibuzz, and they have their hidden ability, but also you can just like catch them and be able to use this Pokemon that you basically wouldn't be able to use.
It wasn't until semi very recently where I learned that you could actually like catch those Pokemon there. It wasn't until like a few years ago where I like learned that, and I felt very stupid.
That's that's fun though. Like the game that keeps on giving. Like Gen 5 is, in my opinion, which is now I guess a cold take, the best generation of Pokemon games from
Spitting.
a single player perspective.
We are so loud, yet so true, and I think we deserve I think we deserve Hydreigon being a decent pick here. But we're going back to Blast side of things. 3 prize cards on the side of Freewer. Blah knocking down 4. But now we are going to see these scenarios again. It continues to make Ancient Box appealing because you have that ability to just ramp up damage so quickly and offset the prize race. Always have the ability to offset your prize race. But Hydreigon just has so much health.
Yeah. 330 is
It's a lot.
you will never knock me out by traditional means. Like but in one turn. Like you're just never taking an Oko against this mon unless under critical situations. And while Roaring Moon has the ability to ramp up damage and slowly win the prize race because you're almost always putting out just one prize Pokemon, like you're forced to take those 2 turns, and these Pokemon are they're kind of small, like 130, 90, like 140. Like these are not the numbers that are going to survive a really powerful onslaught, especially a multi-targeting onslaught like something like Hydreigon. Hell, even in whatever deck is playing Palkia, the the Moonlit Shuriken, has proven to be a problem for lists like these, and that was only basically a one-time thing. Now you get it every single turn.
Yeah, we love to see it. All right, so 2 prize cards left for Blah here. Here comes the dangerous part. Again, only 5 cards left in the deck also, so there's potential I was gonna say a potential mill 3 could have been very dangerous, but instead we're just gonna do okay, no, that's enough for knockout. I forgot about the Mochi attached. That's a 3 prize turn. Hey, look at that.
How about that?
Who would have thunk? Shoutouts. I completely forgot the because you know what, I'm so used to like I was reading Obsidian like Trifrost attack where it does an equal amount of damage to everybody, but you have to do the 130 to the active and then put the other damage on the bench guys. So that was a decent display of how this deck can operate. And also look at that art. My God, that card is so sick.
So pretty.
Such a handsome handsome dragon.
Big fan, big fella. Good to see him repping the Terra Stellar, the Choice Specs Hydreigon in the sun.
Where's Chiyu when you need him?
Fish is always around somewhere.
All right, let's send it back to the caster chat and we'll recap what just happened here.
So. There he is.
Oh. It's me. I'm here. All right, we're back. So that was a fun display of what Hydreigon is capable of. Again,
that was cool.
I think this deck is it just reads like a good card. I think being able to mill 3 is very effective. I think there are going to be some certain matchups where this deck just gets completely steamrolled. I just think certain decks are able to scale their damage just a lot quicker. But just kind of looking at what Freeware's run was looking like today, there's a lot of decks against squishy guys, decks that have to set up to start the game. There's a win against a Charizard deck in here, a win against my Goat Gold. I'm back. Sorry about that,
You're
guys.
back.
My OBS did that thing where it decides to not work again. We've been having weird internet issues for forever, so I gotta talk to the landlord about figuring that one out, but we'll cross that bridge later. Anyway, Goldengo, cool deck. Gets a really cool. Gets a. See, I was talking about this on some platform recently, but one of my friends put me to question is like, do you think that we're starting to get too many A-Spec cards in the format right now? And there are a lot of A-Spec cards in the format, and you start to run into like the office flow chart of like, is this A-Spec card better than Prime Catcher? And most of the time that answer is no. It's like, is it better than Unfair Stamp and Prime Catcher? And most of the time the answer to that is no. Those are S tier.
Yeah.
If you like, those are S tier. Like if you put Prime Catcher as your A-Spec in your deck, I'm never going to question you because that card is just broken. But like, I love that there is a, let's watch Hydreigon again. If they want to stream their next match, who are we waiting on them for? That was English, Kyle.
They're waiting on Sita and Jorge R.
Okay,
so
that's
I believe Jorge's streaming his run on Twitch.
Hey, okay, I'll pull that side window up here while I talk. But yeah, what's it called?
Prime Catcher, Unfair Stamp.
Yeah, so like there's like that tier of A-Spec cards, and then there's just like the tier below that where it's just like, this card sucks otherwise in other decks, but in your deck it might be great. So there's cards like Hero's Cape. There's cards like Legacy Energy. Like Legacy Energy is a broken card when you're able to like just search it out with Archeops. In other circumstances, that card stinks. And I think Goldengo gets a card like that in Energy Search Pro, where in 99% of decks that A-Spec is unplayable filth. But in a deck like Goldengo, you now open yourself up to playing an engine that is not just the Palkia engine. Instead, you now play around the Energy Search Pro, which, for those of you uninclined, it's a new A-Spec card, which lets you search one of every energy type out of your deck and put it into your hand. So Goldengo gets the option to explode for big damage on its second turn, which is not something that it was always able to do in past formats. So, good card.
Yeah, it's a shame that this it kind of has to be like this by nature of card design. I don't know. Like you have all of these really unique A-Spec cards meant to fill a specific niche. For instance, like a Awakening Drum, right? Like it draws a card for every ancient Pokemon. If you're playing a heavy ancient deck, you could theoretically utilize this and have it be very powerful because it doesn't come with any strings attached. You just play it, draw 5. Like that's pretty good to me.
Not bad.
But then you have to contest, like Ancient Drum is even lower on the list because you have to contest with cards like, I mean, what's the one that lets you like discard 3 to add 3?
Secret Box.
Called? Yeah, so like a card like Secret Box is going to outvalue that because while you're discarding 3 cards, you're getting exactly what you need. And even then, Secret Box is barely played because basically what I'm describing is power creep. Like because you can only play one A-Spec, you have to decide what's the best one in most scenarios. And the best one in most scenarios, lo and behold, is Prime Catcher. So
yeah, but I do like that there are those A-Specs where it's just like, this deck, you could just play Prime Catcher. No one's going to bat an eye at you. But if you wanted to go this other route, you can play these.
Yes.
Secret Box is starting to see a lot more play. I think that card, people are starting to kind of understand the power level of how strong that card is in certain archetypes. It's seeing a lot of play in, especially because there aren't a lot of ways to search out stadiums right now. So that having decks that play, like a deck like Miraidon that plays Area 0 now, that bodes really well into a deck like that. Decks like 100%. Cloth make really good use of that. Decks like Ancient Box that want to discard stuff that power themselves up, that becomes an option as well. But yeah, Good card. Shout outs to the pink cards.
Oh,
And shout outs
oh,
to Goldengo. So got some updates here for you guys. Kaizazuka,
ooh.
Lost Box beat the Arcaludon EX. We will not be bridging the gap tonight, which is a shame. That deck is funny.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of the fun stuff cut out early. R2D2 on his Conkeldurr list, the no energy Conkeldurr list, dropping 2-1 to King Heracross, who is playing Pidgeot Control.
While
So
you talk, hold on, I'm gonna see if I can share my screen to like show how insane this deck is. I like need to
yeah,
show the people like how nutty this deck is.
look at these 60 cards, please.
We are like, let me all right, so we'll move this around here. Yeah, so this is the displayed image of what if you're looking at the stream right now, this is what the Conkeldurr deck looks like right now. This deck is insane. I think this deck was always kind of just like a fringe, like funny haha deck you could play in last format. Conkeldurr came out I think a couple sets ago. But the biggest boost that this deck got, which like we mentioned, an A-spec card that in most decks might not seem that great, but in a deck like this makes a lot of sense. The Precious Trolley, the big ol' wagon, which basically acts as a like a VIP like express pass, lets you search out all of the basic Pokemon in your deck. And on decks like this, where like you're playing a Timber that has 80 HP, you can't Buddy Pop and search for it. So some games you're just like, well, guess I'm only getting one or whatever. So now you have a way to get out your Bidoof, your all of these, very hyper specific for the matchup support and attacking Pokemon. And I just think this makes too much sense. This deck is absolutely nuts. So I think it's cool. I love a good meme deck. This is so Kyle coded. And I will be playing this to my nearest league night. Do not tempt me with a good time, folks. I will do it. I'm insane.
Yeah, this is like Twilight Masquerade best hits, and we just sprinkle one touch of a new set, and then you're able to put it all together. I mean, Conkeldurr needs the setup and a way to status. He's playing 2 Hassle because you're just kind of anticipating something's gonna get blown up on your way to a setup Conkeldurr. 2 Brute Bonnet. This deck's hilarious.
This deck has like the skeleton of a cloth list, which is really funny.
It does, yeah.
We'll send this back to us in the old caster chat. Hold on, it's there we go. That's us, and then we're just gonna go back to not the gameplay channel, Kyle. Drive. There we go. That's us. There we go. That's us again with the overlay. Pay no attention to the men behind the curtain. It's not us. No, this deck is funny. Again, it's I love a good funny rogue deck, and also being a fighting type Pokemon right now is very, very good in a meta that is swarming with Terapagos. Being a very strong deck, converts very well at these regionals. Has been the number 1 played deck day 2 into a lot of these regionals in the past format. So there's definitely a lack of your options of good fighting type Pokemon is very limited right now. The pool's very small. So I think having that added benefit of just being able to swing for relevant damage in a lot of matchups is huge. And not just like for super effective damage, but 250 plus.
That's a big number.
250, yeah, on a stage 1 for no energy, and you can increase that math with Binding Mochi. You're doing 290. You're basically you're knocking out almost everything in the format. So
yeah, stage 2, but yes. Conkeldurr is unfortunately not Girder, but all the same, like like 290 into anybody. That's a one-hit KO cut print. Not to mention, as we were talking about earlier, if you're not a normal type and benefiting off of the Terapagos being strong or some other fringe decks that could come up and still be played like Lugia, if Lugia ever still happens to be around. I mean, the shell of that list still exists. You're a dark type Pokemon and you're running into Ancient Box, or you're running into every deck playing Pheasantipity, or like some amount of shenanigans relating to any of these powerful dark type Pokemon, which also take double damage from fighting types.
Yeah,
just
it's nuts.
Good opportunity. Good opportunity.
Good guy Conkeldurr. Lawful good Conkeldurr. Yeah. We love to see it.
Never thought I would see the day.
Yeah, and also what I like about it is that you can take advantage of like the really busted like poison Pokemon. Radiant Sneasler, that poison point ability adds an extra 2 damage counters during checkup. You play this with the Gravity Mountain. That's how you knock out your Stage 2 Pokemon, by lowering their HP. And by doing it that way, you also don't activate Pheasantipity because they get knocked out during checkup. It doesn't get knocked out during your turn. I love little rulings like that.
Those are great. Love
it's
those.
So funny. I just sent you a link to Jorge's thing if you want to watch the rest of that while we're waiting here.
Yeah, because this is the
last.
It's not. Oh, it is the last match we're waiting on, because Vaughn was able to gruelingly 2-0 Aldo Spirit and Snorlax up against Miraidon. So Vaughn moves on to we did all of that just to avoid watching Snorlax.
For now. We got all night.
Yeah. Vaughn and Katsuzuka will be playing King Heracross, and TRT's 101 are playing Echelon, and All Blitzel are playing. They're both those two sets are both on game 2. Freewer is waiting on the winner of what we're watching right now, which is Jorge up against Sita. Sita up 1 game.
Yeah. Hang tight, guys. I'll show you guys the gameplay right now. So.
Yeah. Gardevoir, Charizard.
Yeah, an old, dare I say, kind of a throwback matchup. You don't really see. It's funny because I think both of these EXs, when it's all said and done, are gonna like age the best out of like the EXs in the format. Like these cards are just never gonna be bad, in my opinion. They're just gonna be kind of different. Charizard is very much not the same guy he was 6 months ago. He has changed, despite he's really put in some work with himself. Gardevoir still doing his her thing. I believe this is Sita is playing. I can't. I gotta look this up on another monitor. Teehee. Where am I doing again?
This is
lost. There we go.
So you got the Drifloon, the Screamtails, the Double Monkey Dory, sort of like Gardevoir control type.
Yeah, it's a very popular build of Gardevoir that's been played since Long Island native and food enjoyer Henry Chow took down Baltimore. This is basically just the same list he's been playing since then. I think it's the same list as he played in Louisville. It's just it's in my opinion the best way to play Guardy right now. You have options. Tight. Yeah, you have options to go fast, and even if I think there's a few cards different here in Sita's list. They're playing the Artizone instead of the Moonlit Hill. Double Monkey Dory seems to be in the deck here. So either way, like the skeleton of that list is just very, very good, and we're gonna see if Sita has the tools here to knock out a Charizard, which is like again kind of the hard part here. Or we're just gonna go for the knockout on the bench here because there's 0 bench on board.
Yeah, this is we're doing the whole Screamtail setup. We trade out some of the energy, doing so only on the Gardevoir, though, keeping the Gardevoir as healthy as possible because that's the lifeline. Everything in the deck revolves around it. And we do a solid 120 to the Charizard, which is kind of the lifeline right now. Only 3 cards in hand. We will be getting this Artizon, though, in order to set up a Charmander. And I'm assuming, I would think we would slam down the Iono. But no, the boss's order is going to come out to keep up the pressure instead of try to... really thinking about it, and yes, the answer is that boss's orders. They keep up the pressure with the Burning Darkness. 420 damage. Oh, me, oh my.
That's super effective, baby. As the Pokemon Stadium announcer famously said a long time ago. Now, you got a couple of Curlia set up on the bench here, so you do have You have some draw on board to help you kind of right the ship again, to help you get to another Gardevoir, but things are looking pretty strong right here for Jorge. They're looking pretty poised to move on here.
Yeah, this is only game 2 according to the late night bracket. However, so not sure if this is, not sure if that is either incorrect or what have you.
You might be right.
So, in a good spot though to win this said game number 2. However, getting Ionoed for your life savings certainly is a good spot. Has to find a way to deal 210 damage though, and that's easier said than done. This Screamtail is only currently dealing 190 or 120. Just not enough.
Yeah, it's just
that's a rough spot.
I guess your best bet here is to go in, you have a low hand size, is just to go into this Mimikyu, but depending on what we get off the top deck here, we are simply a searchable way to get this Dusknoir safely, from winning this game for Jorge. So depending on what we get off the top deck here, could be huge. No, we're not there yet.
Yeah, it seems like this entire board state is kind of just Charizard and a dream, especially with what seemingly was Ionos in back-to-back turns to really put things back. That only 10 cards in the discard pile, and it's Rare Candy and Rare Candy Charmander into the big old Charizard. The Dusknoir already put back, already used. So Arvin canceling Cologne.
Oh, that'll do it.
And that, yeah, that's game.
Get sprayed, puppet.
Oh. Let me deal triple your HP right now.
Yeah, that's something I didn't consider. That's a card that a lot of Charizard lists have been cutting. My guess is that given how popular something like Pikachu EX is in the format right now, I think turning off abilities that can just stop you in your tracks is very effective. So no surprise to see that make its way back into the Charizard list. So I believe now we're going to a game 3 now.
Let's see what the move is. Oh, we're
locking in
game number 3. Long, grueling games, but that's kind of what Gardevoir wants in the first place, so makes enough sense.
Yeah, Gardevoir is long in the tooth. It's a lot of drawn cards, a lot of searching your deck, a lot of single prize attackers that you put forth. So you force your opponent to take all 6 prize cards, and you force them to have the nuts. Somehow with the board state that Jorge was playing with there, they were able to pull that game part there. And we get to see the game in a different language, which is fun to watch. So that's cool.
True. Charizard hit hard. Burning Darkness, go burr.
Charizard is a universal language.
Yeah.
Burning Darkness means the same in every language. It means get punched in the face and give me my prize cards.
Especially into a entirely psychic type build. I mean, you're going to be dealing super effective damage that takes out one of the biggest benefits usually for Gardevoir EX, being able to survive multiple hits and then utilize your Monkey Dories and other cards in your list to kind of heal off some of that energy and then to some of that damage, and then shift over some of those damage counters. It used to be with Cresselia, now it's with the Monkey Dory. And Burning Darkness says no.
Burning Darkness says sign the slip. I'm taking lunch.
We are starting off with just a Charmander, but a hand full of powerful cards, from Professor Toro's research to Arvin to second Charmander is always appreciated. This Ultra Ball is kind of tough. You might have to burn it in order to get a Pidgeot. In order to get a Pidgey, kind of depends on how you're feeling.
It's tough.
What the move might be.
You could go Arvin here and just go for the Buddy Poffin, or I guess you get Nest Ball and Forest Sealstone, I guess, if that's the option here. A lot of gold cards in here, my lord. This deck is shiny.
Well.
Oh, yeah. A hot topic of conversation. We talked about how a lot of decks have, very rigid options for their ace specs. And Charizard's like, but what if I could play 4 of them?
Yeah. Just like, whatever. Do what you want.
It's like, yeah, Prime Catcher, not bad. Oh, but what about Unfair Stamp? Pretty broken. Oh, but what about Hero's Cape? Now, wait a second. And then shout out to Jackson Ford, who got top 8, I believe, or he got ASIM cut at LAIC with Secret Box Charizard. So the plot continues to be thickened with Charizard.
Flexibility is very, very alluring in any card game and in any format. I would be surprised if someone came up with a deck and be like, oh yes, I really like it because it does one thing really well and no other things. It's like, happy for you, but also
no,
like, Charizard and Regidrago and all these other decks are like just doing what they want, doing 3 things, which is all of which is what they want.
Do you think I can play Charizard in Edison format?
Yes. It'd fit right in with Gigaplant Supervise.
That's a Pokemon. You could tell me that. I believe you. All right, so we've attached the funny thing about that TM evolution. It looks like that, and ironically, it looks like that Yu-Gi-Oh card, that the back of the King's Hand card, which is a blank card to steal someone's soul. Just giving away that the game just glitched it out when it got attached to Monkey Dory. It is in fact TM evolution, though. We're just gonna evolve and get some Ralts on board here.
Look at all of these Curlias. All set up in the back row.
I miss Mirage Step every day.
Me too, man. The power play that you felt like when you just turn 1, it's like, oh yeah, I'm ultra balling for or doing whatever to get Mirage Step, put it in the attack, and just boom, Curlias.
Yep. Go forth, my army of ballerinas.
Dance the night away.
4 Curlias setup though on that turn is really, really good for Sita. That's a lot of card draw. It's basically almost guaranteeing the evolution the next turn. So we just have that one open bench spot for whatever attacker the scenario is going to call for here. Most likely going to be Drifloon if you have access to the Bravery Charm. And again, a good look of how many energies are in the discard pile already. So could find ourselves in some strong polling position for Sita. We're going to go for the instant charge just to kind of, spread the buck here. And if anything, Screamtail might be an option here, given that you could hit this Rotom on the bench for 2 prize cards.
Yeah, the draw 8 here is very alluring, especially given how there's probably going to be plenty of psychic energy hitting the discard. That's 2 already. That Iono on the previous turn from Sita as well, putting back Charizard in such a massive way. Jorge had the Pidgeot ready and raring to go on the previous turn, and the Iono kind of left him with Collapse Stadium, Defiance Band, a full bench, and Buddy Poffin. Like nothing that you're really super excited to see. Drew into the Arven for this coming turn, but that's going to be after some damage is done.
All right,
the Gardevoir.
There's Gardevoir, and there's old Screamy. Go for the Mind Bend. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, 60 damage, just a little poke. Retreating out the Monkey Dory.
This is probably just to get the Monkey Dory math correct here, just to move some damage around on guys. Damage manipulation is very good. So over attaching is recommended now. And here we go. Old Screamy.
Yeah, she's yelling.
she's angry. She's loud.
Oh yeah.
That card art is so dopey. It is so funny.
It's awesome. Screamtail does one thing: scream real loud, and Perish Song.
That's it. Don't ask her to do anything else.
Nope. She's real fast. She's real round. She screams real loud.
We're all really proud of her.
Very, very true. Round of applause as the Dusclops, not
Duskull.
Duskull, is taken out by the Screamtail, doing some decent work at putting back Jorge as much as possible, holding down the evolutions for as long as possible to try and. I could even see like the Dusclops focus not only to take not Dusclops, Duskull focus, not only to take a prize card right off the bat, start that roll happening, but also it leaves up the Rotom as this almost bait. I could see it as like you can Rotom again, like that's fine. Like draw 3 cards. That just means that Gardevoir gets to exist another turn with no impediments onto their setup, 10 cards in hand. But no, we are going to be finding a way to get this Pidgeot going and start that train a-rolling.
Yeah, no, I think Duskull is certainly a magnet for your attacks. You don't want to give your opponent that flexibility of decimating your board, especially when you're playing a smaller deck like this. So I think whatever you can do to kind of stop that bleeding from happening is huge. But instead, we're just going to get everything we need for the old-fashioned stuff. A rare candy off the Arven to get Pidgeot, and we're just going to evolve that sitting Charmeleon into the Charizard EX, that Infernal Rain ability. Going to move those energies around. Ooh, I like this. Go for the approach. I think that attack's name in English is Steady Fire Breathing. I think it does just enough damage to knock you out here.
Yeah, for 2 energy, it does 30. Basic Pokemon moment. You use the Artisan to fetch out another one of those Duskulls before taking out a mon from each side. You could remove a Pidgey from your board, force a Kirlia or this Monkey Dory out, but most likely one of the 3 Kirlias. Actually taking out the Rotom, even better. Take out a 2-prize attacker, a 2-prize Pokemon off your bench. Force your opponent to clear the Monkey Dory. They do choose to keep up the triple Kirlia. And then for 30 damage, take out the Screamtail.
Yep, those are my favorite sort of plays you'll see in Gardevoir.
Oh, a cute one.
Yeah, being able to take advantage of your basics is good stuff. That was the reason why you played the promo 151 Charmander for a long time. Because for 2 energy, I think Ember did like 40. So that damage was relevant in a matchup like this, where you can save yourself having to evolve into a Charizard and overkill something, where you can just do it with a small guy and then save yourself some resources in a later game. So Charmander doing the work here, and now we're still going to reestablish a few more of these pieces to to knock out this bench sitting Charizard. But we've now lost the Collapse Stadium, but as performed its purpose, we have lost the Rotom, so no bench viabilities or bench liabilities will be here. And once again, slamming the Screamtail back. Get back to work, you. We're not done yet.
Yeah, really hard focusing down. Presumably this coming Dusclops. Duskull. I'll get it eventually.
There's still plenty of time. This guy's not going anywhere, so.
No, not in the least. Deal some damage to the Screamtail, shift some damage away from this Gardevoir. I kind of was anticipating like maybe we would see a TM evolution, devolution, a TM devolution play in order to set up against the Pidgeot or the Charizard, but perhaps saving that one for a little bit later once they become active threats rather than just sitting on the bench waiting for their turn to strike.
Yep, there we go. That Bravery Charm is going to, again, aid in getting a couple more damage counters onto the Screamtail. And once again, focusing in, lasering in on that Dusk Skull. You will not get your ghost set up today, sir.
The only damage you're getting is through Charizard attacking. And that's honestly not a bad direction to, far from a bad direction to take when it comes to this, because if your opponent's only means of manipulating their own prize card math is just, I put down my Pokemon, I spin my wheels, and then I attack. Like that, if that's it, Gardevoir has the means to take hits and recover in turn by attacking on a different axis. As you were saying earlier, like if you're able to preserve your Gardevoir, that's really the only two prize Pokemon that Gardevoir wants to be on the bench at any time. And you're able to successfully then, over the course of a very long game, slowly win the prize math.
Yep. We're going to use that Artazon. Grab another Charmander. Put the boy down. And we have Lumineon in hand to grab something here. These supporters in hand aren't necessarily great right now. They're good to have, but bossing something up isn't really going to do you any favors right now. And Thornton and Turo are both very situational supporter cards. So those aren't necessarily going to do you any favors here. I think grabbing the Iono is smart. Your opponent has sitting on a huge hand right now, so I think flushing those resources to the bottom of the deck is important. There we go. Gonna grab that off the Luminous sign.
Yeah, this makes a ton of sense. Like 10 cards in hand could do so much, and you need something different going on besides like you have 4 cards, pick one of them to play and end your turn. Still has the Retreat online available, but the Charizard EX isn't ready to attack. Like, this is a weird spot to be. You still have the Quick Search. Of course, that is plenty available.
Quick Searcher for an energy just feels so bad.
It just feels so tough.
Nope, we're just going to go for it. I guess you do that, and then maybe a Super Rod first. Or maybe I guess this is where you maybe counter catcher the... Okay, yeah, counter catch Super Rod back in the energies. I believe you... Counter catching up the Gardevoir is probably the right play here. You quick search for that other energy you're missing, and then you get yourself up 2 prize cards here.
Yeah, switch out from down big to, or slowly losing the War of Attrition to taking a massive leg up on the engine of the opponent's deck. Counter catcher gives you that opportunity. No need to do much else besides hit for a solid 480 thanks to weakness.
There we go. We're going to take 2 prize cards here, get another Pidgeot and another Charizard, so not bad resource to have, given that the state of his hand is kind of yikes. not a great looking hand right here, but Pidgeot can kind of help smooth over whatever you might be missing in the next turn if Pidgeot's able to get there. And again, looking at the benefit of how Ceta set their board up, getting that many Curlies into play makes it so that you don't mind getting these Gardevoir's Gust knocked out, because you'll be able to just turn these Curlies into Gardevoirs anyway, and then just start to cycle anew. So,
yeah, resetting up isn't the problem for Gardevoir, especially at this stage in the game where you're powering through your deck by 6 cards per turn, like seeing so much of what's available. It's what you do to the Charizard that's a real problem now. I have to think like there has to be a TM devolution play, if not some other means to get it stuck behind the active, stuck out of the active. But that's where those 2 prize cards, I think, really are coming in clutch here for Jorge. After a really rough-looking hand, going Iono into a way to set up to KO not just any Pokemon, but to KO Gardevoir. Then you rip Pidgeot and Charizard EX off the top, so your next quick search can be access to Rare Candy, and suddenly you've got a second Charizard ready and waiting to go. Just really, really tough. Really, really like tough for the opponent, and they don't even know it yet.
Just in a really double monkey hours.
Now this could prove interesting though, as Gardevoir works their way around. Sita steadily working through all of the various options that Gardevoir has at their disposal. 12 cards left in deck. Choosing to switch out to get to the Gardevoir up. Counter Catcher.
Okay, sure. Take your take that, fish.
Yeah, all right. The sea life is of no quarter.
Gardevoir hates fish.
Yeah. Always have.
I mean, I guess this makes sense given for
Gardevoir hates fish?
Well, yeah, that. But oh wait, this is busted. Oh, you could just you could just double monkey to knock out the Pidgey on the bench here. That's actually kind of that's so nuts. What the heck? This turn is crazy. This deck's broken.
Yeah, pivoting to Unfair Stamp. The Monkey Dory is going to take out the Monkey Dories, plural. Going to take out the Pidgey. You remove a ton of follow-up. Unfair Stamp be like that. Take a prize card. Then take 2 more. And all that's left. And on the bench that is left are a couple of Charmanders that are ripe for the taking. You don't feel too bad about this Gardevoir. Just, you use your Miracle Force, you take 2 prizes, and then you've got Screamtail back there ready to deal 120 to a Charmander. What a line.
Yeah, that was huge stuff. And you see why Sita spent so much time focusing down on the Duskull, knowing that you can put yourself in a situation where you can... they're not gonna lose the game next turn. Some crazy stuff's gonna have to happen here. I'm sure there's things that Jorge can do to maybe stall for time a little bit here. This could possibly be a Radzard angle, but it's just looking tough, man. There's a big hand on the other side. You're looking at a barrel of 2 Monkey Dories and whatever the heck Screamtail is. There's some danger here.
When it comes down to it, all of these card games are about resource availability. And while decks like Charizard have so much going for them, obviously, they can do so much at any given time.
Yeah.
Refinement Gardevoir, just Refinement Curlia. Gardevoir can attach any amount of energy from your discard at any point in time. You can do it multiple times a turn. And you just it makes it a difficult deck to play for a long period of time, but it means you can just find the angles. This Unfair Stamp will be huge to cut things down and to cut down options, but you're already going to be able to see at least 4 more cards after a discard. Not to mention the draw for turn, and Screamtail is already set up.
Yeah, I guess what you can do here is you can you're swinging for max damage with Charizard at this point. I guess the hand disruption is helpful here. You Iona your opponent the 1. You knock out the Gardevoir. You hope they don't have the nuts to knock you out. But you still leave some draw on board. But instead we're going to go for the Arven instead, okay? I guess we're going to limit it to this 2-card hand and punch up the Screamtail, which is the only real threat on the board right now. So eliminate all threats from the board, and we're just going to... Oh, are we just sacking the game here? What's happening there? Oh, they just conceded. Okay. I mean, I guess they figured it's like there's still plenty of draw on deck. I think that's... Oh, they just ended the stream.
No, we're done.
Let's go back to us.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I get it. I get the idea there. Like there is the chance of winning is at that point super slim, despite already having. Oh, Kyle's gone.
I should be back now. That was weird. My
Oh, oh,
Hey guys, sorry guys, my sorry, my internet cut out for a second. So, but I think
it
we should
is
be.
raining.
Yeah, the weather's a little sus right now, so I think we should be back and okay now. So, sorry about that, folks. I know what you were saying.
Yeah, I just like I get the odds were not in your favor, but I'm always a fan of like make them do it, like make them beat you. Like
Yeah,
like the odds of winning here are probably sub 5% based off of like double Curlia. The Gardevoir was still up. Like double Monkey Dory means that dealing 70 damage to one of the Charmanders was probably going to happen. And maybe it was guaranteed in a way that I couldn't see. But make them do it. Make them beat you. It's game 3.
yeah. It's tough, especially when they have both Monkey Dory on the bench. Like if it's just one Monkey Dory, that's one thing, but having two Monkey Dory and that much stuff to move around, it's tough because then you
Yeah.
just not easy, not easy stuff. But hey, man, Gardevoir provides. She finds a way to get things done.
Yeah.
Um,
Always
all right.
does.
So while we wait for things to catch up here, I'm gonna check on my internet real quick. So we're gonna take a quick little bathroom break. I think we both need to drink of water after that one. So
Yep.
hang tight with us, guys. We'll be right back after this short commercial break, and we'll see you on the other side. So hang tight, guys. All right, folks, we are coming to you live from a game already in progress. We're here in one of our top four matches. We heard y'all like control, so we got control in your control. It is Vaughn, our undefeated, at I believe they're at 10-0 right now, 11-0, 12-0. Ooh, that's a big number. 12 is a large number, Henry. They're going up against King Heracross here, so. I am just trying to get this screen all configured here so everyone can see everything. Snorlax Stall. Yeah. Yeah. It's a one of those alternate win conditions that we talk about all the time here, and this is a kind of an interesting build here, of the Snorlax control decks. It's playing sort of a hybrid of what was popular in I believe I want to say it was Gdansk or one of these regionals in Europe this past format, but they opted to not play a Rotom in that list. But here we are seeing the Rotom V. We're seeing 4 copies of the boxed order, which allows you to search your deck for 2 item cards, put them in your hand, but your turn ends. We're also seeing the inclusion of the new Precious Trolley that we mentioned before. So Trolley helps a lot in getting going wide, set your bench up. To get out whatever walling Pokemon you might need. You have access to Mimikyu and Ogerpon here. The Pidgeot V to help you loop stuff to stop you from decking out, and the Sandshrew to stop your opponent from getting their important supporter cards and stuff back into their hand. So some interesting options here again, but the goal of the deck is to mill you of your resources, Airy to limit the items in your hands, the row 6 machinations to cut your hand size to 3, just trying to choke you out of your resources, whereas King Heracross's list a little bit more offensive focused, and we're just going to see the forfeit here from I believe that was on Vaughn's side we were watching from, so yeah. No, it's this Pidgeot control is such like how do I describe it? It's like I tried using this comparison before. It's like a sport that's fun to watch, but not. It's like very complicated to play. It's like tennis, like yeah, like there's a bunch of moving pieces in here that you have to work in tandem with, and also like the skill ceiling with control is like, and I think it's a little bit easier in these online tournaments where you have open deck lists. You have to know exactly how many resources your opponent is playing with to know exactly what to get rid of at any given time. And that's not always the easiest to do in closed deck list settings, but an open deck list makes things a little bit more easy to navigate. And we do see some fun cards from the new set in here as well. The counter gain, obviously, to take advantage of the losing prize race, and the Black Curum EX, which is fun to say the least. I don't know exactly. I guess this is good against Regidrago if you're expecting to see a lot of that. You paralyze the active Pokemon for 3 colorless energy. I'm assuming you try to use this in conjunction with your counter gain, so you only have to attach a double turbo to it. So some interesting lines you have to choose from here. Oof. Roblox oof. Yeah. Except the biggest part that was missing from that Pidgeot control start was a Pidgey to get established. So now we're in a scenario where we must electromagnetic sonar, and there we go. The accompanying flute coming into play here allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck, I believe. It is... Yep, it's 5 cards, and you can put any number of basic Pokemon you find there and put them onto your bench, and put them onto your opponent's bench. So, good in those decks that want to manage your bench size. That's really good against Lugia, because then you just force Lugia to bench the extra Pokemon. Yeah, this is kind of an awkward standstill here for both sides. I mean, you see Vaughn holding on to that Iono, not wanting to give up a fresh hand here to King Heracross. And again, it's the Ogerpon is actually not a bad start here because your main attacking threats in this deck all have abilities. So, not a bad card to have here. Do have the Trolley in the deck if we want to choose to go that route. Could be a Trolley angle. There's a great there's a great piece of art I saw online of like somebody drawing Arvin pushing the precious trolley, and it's carrying like it's carrying like a Charmander, a Pidgey, a Rotom, and like all like the Charizard pieces. It's very adorable. Yeah, it's he's just shopping for lunch meats with his array of Pokemon. Scarlet, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're done skis here, and there we go. That's a quick 2-0 there for King Heracross. All right, how about that? Let's send it back to caster chat. We'll talk about what unfolded here, Henry. Hello, everyone. It is us. We're back. That was just a tough break there for Vaughn, unfortunately. Yeah, no, it's tough. Luxray being able to control your hand size, it's able to get through the Cornerstone Mask because it doesn't have an ability. So just a tough break, unfortunately. That's kind of the beauty of these control mirrors. Again, like I said, it's like watching tennis. Both of these decks have cards that counter each other. This is a deck I cannot pick up and play. I play Goldengo. I discard energy. I blow things up. Like I can't. My brain was not meant to think that hard. That's it. It ain't for me. But I love watching and learning about other people that can play these decks because I'm like, it's just it's a different wrinkle to the game. It takes a real skill set to be able to pilot a deck like this successfully, and it's a good archetype. And I think it gets a couple of interesting new pieces with Surging Sparks, and it might be in a bit of a better place here. Moving forward, I think decks like Pidgeot Control. The Pidgeot Control kind of fell off like a little bit. Like I think Iron Thorns became the much more popular, stop grief deck to a degree, just because so many good decks right now have abilities. But I think Control is healthy for a format. I think stuff like that is healthy for the game, and you saw it unfold in a very unfortunate way for Vaughn, but good for King Heracross, guaranteeing a top 2 finish here. Yeah. Yeah. hmm Iron Thorns, baby. Keep that thing on me. All right. That being said, folks, so there's some matches that are still playing catch up right now. It's already pretty late as it is, so as much as I would love to be able to stay up, as much as we love to continue the rest of the tournament without holding everybody else's night up because we can only vamp for so long, I'm probably gonna end the stream out here tonight. But Blitzel's, I'm sure, streaming on his YouTube channel, so if you want to watch his run from when those rest of those matches catch up, you can check that out there. But I think just for the sake, especially because I think my internet's doing that thing where it keeps fading in and out, so I don't want to. I tried resetting it earlier, and it's just we might be having some problems, so I gotta check that out. But we got some good matches in tonight, and I think everybody thoroughly enjoyed that. And hey, listen, if you guys are looking forward to to more Surging Sparks goodness, Sacramento's coming up this weekend, and we'll all look forward to watching that. So, Henry, I'll pass the buck to you. Where can the good people on the internet find you? Yeah. Yeah. Late night prize mapping. Yeah, you guys can check me out at Koopa NJ. I'm on the internet. I cast here every week, and I'll be here every week for the foreseeable future. And you guys can check me out on various things on the Shuffle Squad YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Shuffle Squad. Use all of our links below to get your card goods and your accessory goods. And support the team going out to Sacramento this weekend. I know a bunch of the guys are going out there, so make sure to tune in for that. I'm sure we have a meta forecast coming out later this week. But until then, catch you guys next time, and have yourselves a wonderful night. And let me be the first to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, folks. We'll see you next week. So, good night, everybody.